This week's episode of the CBS series Whistleblower sounds like something out of a horror movie. It's a story involving a crematorium and a conversation one embalmer was not supposed to hear. When he did, he says it put his job and his life in jeopardy.
It's one of two stories featured in tonight's episode of Whistleblower. Here's a preview.
Most people have no idea what I went through.
No one knows better than a funeral director that life is short. But Barry Tall never imagined he'd fear his own life could be cut short by, of all people, his boss, Jed Nagel, the owner of Abanks Mortuary and Crematory in Birmingham, Alabama.
How did you get along with Jed Nagel at first?
We got along okay. We weren't pals. He was a boss. I was an employee. I did my work and went home.
A client, the federally funded Alabama Organ Center, used Abanks' facility to perform bone and tissue recovery. Barry then prepared donors' bodies for the funeral home of a loved one's choosing. His job went smoothly for about 3 years, but it imploded when he says he overheard his boss talking to the directors of the organ center.
Jed said, look, if you want more money, you're going to have to start padding these bills better.
Barry says the conversation came to a grinding halt, and he went back to the embalming room. Moments later, he says, Nagel paid him a visit and made a confession.
My boy, he said, you got to grease some palms in this world if you want to make some money. Something's wrong. Padding bills. I'm not a genius. It doesn't take a Phi Beta Kappa to figure that out, right?
But after that, Barry says things took a dark turn when Nagel became violent.
He took an open bottle of embalming fluid and just threw it across the room so it hits the floor, hits the wall, and spills everywhere.
Is that dangerous?
Very dangerous.
He says his boss also started making terrifying threats, Barry thinks, to keep him quiet.
He threatened to kill my parents and to kill me, to cremate me alive. I work around dead bodies for a living. I have a very strong stomach, but this made me sick.
What Barry had unknowingly stumbled upon was a kickback scheme worth millions.
So basically, they were ripping off taxpayers.
The entire country.
Eventually, Barry hired attorney Larry Golston, who filed a federal whistleblower lawsuit.
What did you think was going to happen in Barry's case?
I thought we would win.
Not if the opposing attorney, Gene Rutledge, could help it.
There are plenty of cases where whistleblowers are very effective and very useful and help our country. But this isn't one of them. This guy's a squealer.
Squealer. Okay, Alex Ferrer is from the host of Whistleblower, and he joins me now. Okay, so then give us an idea of what the fallout from this squealer, what the squealer had to say, aka Whistleblower.
Well, luckily Barry did not get cremated, so we have that.
That's good.
Unfortunately, he's been blackballed in the industry. This is a job that he wanted since he was 10. Now, that's kind of creepy. He was a 10-year-old boy who knew, after going to his grandfather's funeral, that he wanted to be a funeral director because he saw the funeral director comforting people. At 14, he actually says it in class during career day, and I'm sure that makes him the creepy kid in school. That's all he ever wanted to be. And this becomes his career. And now, because he comes forward, he blows the whistle and exposes this fraud that cost taxpayers millions and millions of dollars. He's been blackballed. And so he has picked up some freelance embalming jobs, but basically now he's an embalming instructor at a mortuary school in Mississippi.
See, when I hear that, it makes me think, well, how widespread is this? Why wouldn't you want a guy like that who's completely dedicated to the craft? Why wouldn't you want him working for you?
See, that's my exact feeling about all whistleblowers. If you're a legitimate company, you want somebody who doesn't agree with stealing, ripping off, But, a lot of times these whistleblowers, and this is why I look at them as heroes, they lose their careers, not just their job. Mm-hmm. They lose their careers. They sometimes lose their homes because they go into foreclosure. They sometimes break up their marriages. Mm-hmm. But you ask them, would you do this again? And they go, yeah. They're just raised right. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What happened to the boss who was terrorizing Barry?
Well, I can't tell you everything, but I can tell you that he went to trial twice, once in state court, once in federal court. And you'll have to tune in to see what the outcome of those were. But I will tell you that the story has a surprise ending to it.
Did Barry win his lawsuit, his court case?
I don't want to reveal that, but I will tell you that given the allegations that were made and the damages and the law that applies, if he does win, There are substantial zeros behind it. He stands to make millions if he wins.
Oh, wow. Sounds like he would deserve it.
Yeah, I would
I
think
mean,
so.
he's taken quite a loss.
And that threat to cremate him alive and to kill his whole family.
Yeah.
That's
criminal, isn't it?
His boss owned a crematorium, so it's not
if
a
Vlad threatened it, I'd
far-fetched
be like,
idea.
yeah, right, buddy. Yeah, right. All right, Alex Ferrer, and once again, another really interesting case. Thank you so much. Tonight's episode of Whistleblower, Cremation, Kickbacks, and Corruption airs tonight at 8, 7 Central on CBS.